Hi, welcome to Forbes Let's Talk the Insurance Edition. My name's Nicola Dawn and I'm one of the insurance partners at Forbes, and each podcast I'll be taking you on a journey with one of our guests through their work, life and career. Hi and welcome to the next edition of Forbes Let's Talk the Insurance Edition podcast, and today we welcome John Myles, a veteran of Forbes.
Yes. Yes, I'm not giving me age yet.
How long have you been with Forbes now, John?
I've been with Forbes. It's coming up for 25 years. 25 years in the next May. Yeah.
Excellent. So you get your medal for that?
I do. And then, of course, I've been other places before that.
I was going to say, would you like to tell us about your route? Because it's been an interesting one, hasn't it?
I suppose it has, really, yeah. I did a law degree, Liverpool University.
Oh, I was at Liverpool as well.
Oh, very good. Yeah. I love Liverpool.
Oh, it's a great city, isn't it?
Favourite city. Far better than Manchester. Anyway, controversial. Yeah, so I was at the law faculty there, which was very nice, actually. It was just like a little separate school in itself. I would say I was more interested in other things, perhaps, than I should academically at the time. And I never really got into it as a subject. I mean, I passed my exams. I was sports secretary. I did a lot of things, played a lot of football, had a great time.
Yeah.
But didn't think I wanted really to go into being a solicitor or a barrister at that stage. So I messed around for a bit, worked in a shop called Clobber in Blackburn, if anybody bought anything from there, for a year or two, and then decided to go into teaching. So I did my postgraduate certificate in education again at Liverpool, and then became a teacher in Runcorn, Newtown and I did 3 years. Famous pupil, John Bishop, the comedian.
Oh, the comedian! Did you teach him?
Yeah.
Was he funny at the time as well?
He was always a natural comedian, yeah. He was a good footballer as well, because I ran the football team there. So he usually looks me up when he's come to Blackburn. So
amazing.
Yeah, so he's a good lad.
Yeah. What did you teach, John?
English and humanities.
Oh, so quite a broad
Humanities
spectrum.
was like, yes, it was sort of religious, geography, a bit of history. But my worst class was 3L. We called them 3 hell. And I think one of the reasons that I decided to give up teaching was when I was trying to teach them on a very hot summer's day, the history of stained glass windows. It was just, I just thought, anyway, I took them out in the school bus really instead. So yeah. I couldn't bear it. And I thought maybe it's not for me. So I went back into the law. I'd actually been studying to do law O and A level for the school and got all the books. And for the first time really, I found it really interesting and thought I might as well go the whole hog, and went and did my part twos, as they were called in those days.
Do you think sometimes that people are sort of forced down a route? If you choose a degree like law, and then you think, right, well, I've got to go down that path, but you're quite young to make that decision.
Oh, very much so.
And then the teaching probably helps with a lot of transferable skills then into your law career.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things they said why I did a law degree was people said, well, you can use it. It's a useful degry for other things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it shows a good degree of, you've got to have a good academic background to get there.
Yeah. It's worse. It's harder now than it was. But having said that, the exams have got easier, but never mind. And then first job, I did my articles with a firm called A.W. Moore, who then became Lacemore, and then Berryman's Lacemore, so BLM, you'll know them.
I do. I had a stint at BLM as well.
There you go. Then that was on the defendant's side, my articles. But then I always wanted, at that time anyway, to practice claimant PI. So I went to a firm called Thompson's, quite well-known national PI firm.
Yep, I've just been dealing with a letter of claim from Thompson's right now, so they're still going strong.
Mostly trade union work, because that was what they did. And I did a bit of white-collar crime there as well, criminal work.
Oh, but that was interesting.
Criminal work for clients. I wasn't into the white-collar crime.
Just to clarify. I bet that was interesting.
Yes, it was good because the clients were usually people who'd never been in trouble in their lives before. I amazed the criminal lads at Forbes by saying in sort of 7, 8 years that I did the criminal work, I never once had a client who failed to turn up for an appointment or for court.
Really?
Never.
Yeah.
So, So then there was, in 1999, I don't know if you recall, there was the Wolf reforms.
I had heard about it. Yes, it was just before I qualified.
And everybody panicked a little bit because, again, funnily enough, it was a bit, part of it was to reduce costs across the board. And a lot of firms sort of decided that they were too top heavy.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a night of the long knives. And I was offered voluntary redundancy, and quite a few of us went at that time. And I dealt with Forbes on the other side, the defendant people like Peter Gold and Martin Crabtree at the time, who were, I got on great with them, even though they were opponents. And I just thought it's a very friendly, even in those days, very friendly firm that I wouldn't mind working for. I'm a Blackburn lad. As I said, come across them on inspections and things like that. And when I told them that I was leaving, they invited me to come and join them.
Oh, excellent. You've been here ever since.
Yes. Yeah, I started on the defendant side for a very short time, and then quickly they realised probably that my forte was on the claimant side, so I moved down and did personal injury with Robin Bauer and John Bennett and people like that,
Excellent, with that wealth of experience. And then you've come now back to the defendant side, haven't you, and working for insurers, doing the social care work with Keller and the team. Yeah. That must be challenging in lots of ways.
It is, yeah. About 8 years ago, I decided, I was asked to move down. We started getting instructions in from the local authorities, particularly Rochdale at the time, that they were getting a number of claims for child sexual exploitation, CSE as we call it. And the sort of team was quite small then, and they needed to build it up. Yeah. So, I think I was ready for a change as well. I think, as I say, it refreshes you. And, the work, as you say, is challenging. We then took on a great number of, in fact, most of the cases, the Rotherham cases. Everybody will have heard about the exploitation of children in Rotherham. And we deal with those. We deal also with cases of neglect or sexual abuse within the home, where it's claimed that the children should have been removed at an earlier date. There's been an awful lot of ongoing jurisprudence and appeals in that particular field, which has made it difficult because we advise that liability will be one way, and then there's an appeal, and we have to look at it all again.
Because Keller was saying on her podcast, we're waiting for a couple of judgments to come out this year, and we've got cases on hold ready for that. Are they looking like they're coming into fruition?
Yeah, but it seems to keep going on. I mean, we've been in that position certainly for 3-4 years. So nobody, it's difficult for the claimants as well because they don't know how to pursue cases. So I think that, yes, we're waiting for 2 cases, HXA and YXA, which hopefully will clarify things to a certain extent, but it's probably all going to come down to the old adage, it all depends on the facts of any particular case.
Exactly, doesn't it?
We'll get some guidance as to the underlying law, hopefully, but that's and it's also difficult because some of the things you see. I mean, it's hard to believe even that these days the sort of depravity and neglect that is within some homes. just, it doesn't bear belief, really.
And when we spoke to Keller on the podcast, she was saying that counselling's available because it is a really hard subject matter. So there's counselling available for the team who deal with it. And everybody's really well looked after because it's quite gruelling to go through all that. And it's very document heavy, and you're reading all about all of these things.
Yeah, I mean, one of the files that I dealt with had 43 stuffed ring binders of social care records, and somebody has to go through those. And you just can't absolutely turn off when you see some of the things that we see. So but and it seems strange to say it's enjoyable work, but it's rewarding work because we're not out there to be unfair or unreasonable. If there is a case that requires settling, we advise that it should be settled, and we do the best for our insurance client that it's the right sort of figure of settlement.
But you have to be commercial as well, don't you? On that thing, it's the same with the mesothelioma cases. I find they're quite tough when you've got the witness statements and you're reading them, and they're heartbreaking at times. And it's coming to that decision. Is it one to defend? Is it one to settle? If it's one to settle, get it off the books as quickly as possible and save the insurers.
Mesotheliomas are horrible.
Oh, it's awful. It's
I did
a
few of those
disease.
at Thompson's for claimants. It's hard.
And time's of the essence as well, isn't it, with those? So get it completely. It's that balancing act, isn't it? But and the team is obviously going from strength to strength. And
the team's great. Honestly, that's what. I was going to say it's what keeps me young, but I'm not young.
You are. Look at that suit, John. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It keeps me feeling young anyway, because they're tend to be a youngish team, and they're very, very committed, and all nice, all great people. We get different trainees in, and they've all been fantastic. So.
Brilliant.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky.
Yeah, it's a seat that trainees really get their teeth into as well. They learn so much from it, I think.
Yeah, and Keller's I'm not just saying this, Keller. She is a fantastic leader of the team.
Oh, she's brilliant, isn't she? I love working with her. She's great. And still happy and still invigorated you are after 25 years, which is good going.
Well, I will give a bit of my age away because I'm certainly past old age retirement now, but I don't want to finish. No. I think they'll have to kick me out.
Who would want to kick out somebody with all these skills and experience?
As long as I can keep feeling that I'm doing a good job, I would like to stay on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's really good. And it is a great firm to work for. I mean, I've only been here 2 years, not 25 years, but I absolutely love it. I think it's great. And when we sit down and have an insurance partners meeting and we all have a chat and throw things about, it's just a really great supportive group, I always feel.
It's the people. Yeah. I mean, the people, and I think they choose very carefully and very wisely. It's not all about getting somebody with the top academic qualification. They have to fit in, and generally speaking, with one or two exceptions who I won't name, we've got it right.
Yeah, brilliant, fabulous. And so, what do you like to do? As downtime after you're going through all those bundles of documents? What do you fill your spare time with?
Well, I'm a massive football fan.
I know, Blackburn fan.
Big Rovers fan, yeah. And today is actually, strangely, a bit of a red letter day for me.
Oh, go on.
Because it's 60 years to the day since I attended my first match at Ewood Park.
Oh, you're joking?
Yeah. And guess what I've done? I've gone online today and I've just bought the programme from that match.
Oh, brilliant.
Because my dad bought me the programme that day, and I still remember it. And obviously it's kind of... It didn't last. My mum probably threw it away in the bin as soon as I got home. But 60 years to the day. And
who was it against, John?
Birmingham City, and we won 3-0.
Oh, wow. Can you remember the score? Did you have to look it up?
I can't remember the scorers, but definitely 3-0. And funnily enough, we played Birmingham in our next home game.
I did notice that. I did have a look this morning and see who you got next. Yeah. Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. Well, I'd settle for the same scoreline and a bit of friendly stick on. on Wayne, yeah, because he hasn't won one yet.
No, he hasn't. No, he's
anyway.
still trying.
Yeah. Apart from that, a bit of television reading. I still run.
I saw. Did you do a run? Was it in Lanzarote? You did a run.
Yeah, I'm
recently?
going again end of this month.
Brilliant.
For the Lanzarote International. I don't trouble the leaders. Let's put it that way. But I get round.
Brilliant. Well, that's fantastic, isn't it?
It keeps me from seizing up, I suppose. Yeah.
And a bit of music as well, I believe.
Yeah, the kids in particular. I sing a little bit when I get the chance.
I've heard the partners do last year. There's a great rendition of Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline,
you got going.
And we'll do Fairy Tale of New York with my daughter Miranda. Yeah, so we do a few of those. Yeah, the kids are very much into the music. Rory and they write as well, write their own stuff. Rory and Miranda. So yeah,
amazing.
I get involved in carting the equipment round and listening to them. So the oldest unpaid roadie in the business.
But you must be very good at your job because they've not sacked you yet.
Well, no, they can't get anybody else.
That's good. But we do so much around Blackburn and Blackburn Rovers as well, don't we? Have meetings there, have Christmas dues there.
Yeah. We used to have corporate there, but we stopped that, unfortunately, because I used to enjoy that. And that's a little bone of contention because we do Burnley, but they are in the Premier League.
This is true. This is true.
So there we go. I suppose we have got.
But you have won the Premier League back in the day.
The only town team ever to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Shearer and co.
I'm impressed with your knowledge of football.
I know. Well, I've looked it all up this month. Well, I do like my football as well.
Going to talk football. Yeah. Well, I like your entries into LinkedIn. You do quite a few on those, don't you?
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
You had one this week and said, what gets you up in the morning?
Yeah.
And I actually wrote it down and then I thought, better not. But I'm going to say it now. I thought, what gets me up in the morning, Dawn, is a weak bladder. Does that count?
Yeah, well, it does. It does in a bit. It does, but it's good. I think it's good because a lot of people who are looking at training contracts have a look at it. A lot of our clients like to keep up and have a look at what we're doing. It just sort of kind of shows that we're people who are out and about and doing all this stuff, and I love it. I think if we can showcase the firm in any way we can and show what fabulous people everyone is, it's brilliant. Yeah, again,
I don't want to embarrass you, but you obviously do fantastically well with that because, as I say, not just LinkedIn, but throughout the firm.
Yeah, thank you.
And your, all the messages that you put through about diversity and that is very much appreciated.
Because that's a big thing that we really want to push and get involved in. But it's been brilliant because we've had the committee sort of formally, I think it's not even a year yet, but everybody really wants to get involved and do all the things around Eid and the fasting has been brilliant. And then just that highlighting so much different stuff. But everybody gets so involved. We did World Kindness Day last week as well. It's just really good because we've got so many people around the firm with different backgrounds and different lived experiences. It's good to get everyone involved.
And I think that certainly the diversity. I mean, I was involved with the football tournament at the weekend, and that was brilliant. We had loads of people from all different backgrounds, and the food that was on offer was mostly Indian food.
I'd heard about that. It sounded amazing.
It was fantastic. It really good. A really well organised event. So, and hopefully that's going to become an annual.
Oh, I hope so. I could go this year. I was away, but I was desperate to get my football boots on, and I was trying to get Keller involved.
I believe you're a semi-professional.
Oh, no. Andrew Ellis tells everyone this. No, I played for Notts County Ladies, but back before they were in any way.
The oldest football club.
Exactly, 1862.
Yeah, but I bet the women weren't playing then, were they?
No, they weren't. I don't think they were. No. Although I was reading quite an interesting thing about the World Wars and the women's football being really prevalent during World Wars, but then getting banned after the Second World War.
They did. I think, was it after the second? I thought it was after the first.
Maybe it was after the first, but it's after one of the World Wars.
Which was strange, really, because it sort of went backwards, didn't it? But Yeah, I mean, they're doing well now.
Oh,
I
brilliantly.
mean, some of the goals that you see, I think, sign them on for the Rovers. Get them in the team.
Well, a lot of the women's team that play for Manchester United at the minute are former Blackburn Rovers players, aren't they?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
Ella Toone
yeah.
and Alyssa Russo all came through Blackburn's
That's
academies,
right.
didn't
Well,
they?
there was 3 in the England squad that had been at Blackburn at some stage. So yeah,
They've got a really good youth setup, haven't they?
yeah.
Amazing.
And with the men as well. So anyway, not all about football.
It's not all about football, there is the work there. So do you ever regret doing teaching first? Do you wish you'd gone straight into law, or
No.
are you really happy that you had that
No,
stage
I never
of your
regret.
life?
Actually, another thing that I don't regret is having a career break, even though it wasn't great for the career.
Yeah.
When I was 35, about 1990, 91, both my wife and myself decided just to have a career break and go travelling, because we hadn't done it when we were a bit younger.
Yeah.
It's better to do it when you're younger, but we took sort of 6 months off and travelled round. We went to Sicily first of all, which was a bit suspicious, but for a month. But, and then the States, we had quite a few people we knew in the States, and then South America. Unfortunately, the South America trip had to be curtailed because we both got ill.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Delhi, it wouldn't be Delhi Belly, it'd be Matasuma's Revenge. In Mexico, that was.
Oh.
I wasn't too bad, but Kath just couldn't keep anything down, so we really had to come home.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get that out of her systems, really.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, so no regrets about teaching. 3 years was, I think, enough for me. I knew I didn't want to grow old in it.
Yeah.
I've never regretted going back into the law.
No, it's brilliant. And I imagine all the skills you bring with you as well when you're looking after trainees and paralegals and bringing them on. There's so much wealth of experience there as well to bring, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
And John Bishop tickets as well. So that's...
I don't have to pay it. Yeah, he's... have time for a little story?
Yeah, you've got time, John.
Bishop. In fact, we went from work. Quite a few people went from work when he was at King George's Hall. And the first time I'd seen him, he was just down in the Windsor Suite, which is a small venue. So he's talking. He's talking about how he started off in Blackburn in the broom cupboard, as he said. It was not that small, but. I didn't, for on this occasion, I hadn't actually been in touch with him, so I didn't know he knew I was there, and I still don't know to this day how somebody must have tipped him off.
Yeah.
Because he's going through all the show, really good, getting a fantastic reception. Right at the end, he says, he's talking about his trips to Blackburn, and he says, in fact, one of my old teachers is from Blackburn, and I believe he's here tonight. Yeah. So all these people... go easy. And he said, hey, Mr. Myles, he says, I'm sorry about all the bad language. He said, but you're not my teacher now. Honestly, that's what he said. And those were his last words as he walked off stage. But then he invited us back to the dressing room afterwards.
So. He seems like a really lovely man when you see him on everything.
He is a good lad, yeah. So
that's good. And you must have seen so much, as you said, touched on before, the Wolf reforms, and then we've obviously had all our training on the new fixed recoverable cost regime coming in. You must have seen so many changes as well over that span of career.
Yeah.
And how the market...
Not always for the best.
Yeah, probably not. And how the market responds to it, and how people sort of... There's a bit of toing and froing at first, and then it all sorts itself out in the end.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, certainly on the new fixed cost regime, I think that far better and more knowledgeable commentators than me have criticised it for being, shall we say, over complicated, and unnecessarily so. I think it will. I think the aims are laudable, to try and give more certainty about cost to both parties. But the way it's been implemented, I think, is going to lead to loads and loads of satellite litigation, because we are lawyers after all, and we're going to fight for our corners, and the claimants are going to fight their end, quite rightly so, and we're going to fight our end. And because there are certain barriers that once you get over it or keep it under it, it makes quite a big difference. That is going to lead to people wanting to get their own way with it.
On both sides. On both sides. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems to me that it could have been done in a better way.
And looking back to the wolf reforms, was that a similar experience? Because that was before I qualified. Was there more certainty with that, or?
Yes, there was, but I mean, it was more to do with. It was as much to do with trying to make the law a little bit more straightforward, as well as the costs. I mean, it brought in the concept of the civil procedure rules and the overlying objective to be fair to people. That it was that sort of thing. But certainly at the time, people thought it was going to revolutionise law and lead to mass sort of resignations, not resignations, but people having to leave the profession even. So, but it didn't work out as badly as that by any means.
No.
And we've been building on it since.
Yeah, and there's lots of satellite litigation around that as well, and everything works itself out over the course of time.
Yeah. Well, as I say, we're lawyers. We're
going to argue points.
We're going to find points to argue.
Exactly. Well, John, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I could talk to you all day, possibly with a pint or a cup of tea in hand, but we're going to arrange that today.
Who said I drank?
But no, it's been a really fabulous to have you on. Absolute honour. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for asking me. Yes, I was very honoured to be asked, and